Hey there, Mitch Wilder here. And in this video, I want to share something that I've been working on for the past few weeks that I think is pretty interesting with all of the stuff going on with AI and ChatGPT and just this explosion of, AI and business and how the two merge. And it's just something that I think is particularly fascinating. So, what I wanted to try and did try, and here's the results of it so far, is starting a business using AI and seeing if it could accelerate the process of starting a business. And what you see right here is the result of that. And essentially, what I've done is I've accelerated the rate at which I would start a business by using AI. And I'm going to share what that looked like in this video. And this is a service that we're getting ready to launch here in just a few weeks. And this is it's a YouTube channel management video marketing services. You can just kind of see some of this here, a preview of what we're launching and what we're building. And the inception of this and what we did was built from this GPT prompt right here that you see. And what I want to share is how I used this prompt and how I used AI in this prompt to basically lay the foundation for building and launching this company. So let's just dive right in and I'll show you kind of what I did and how this all started. So the idea here was, how can I use ChatGPT or AI to help me build a company faster? And so here's what the AI was able to help me to do, right? So first, I used it to identify and refine the target market. Okay. I also was able to use it to collaborate with it on creating the products and services, help me set up the website and the copy that would go on the website, naming the company and the products and services, coming up with ideas for lead magnets and offers. I don't know if I actually have it in here also, but also help me come up with funnels to sell the products, come up with FAQs and answer those, give me ideas on how to sell the services. So that's kind of where the funnels would come in. Planning the startup cost of the company, which so far have actually been pretty accurate. Setting up the organizational structure. So in other words, that's like who should be on the team, what are their roles, and how many of each person do we need. Plan the revenue potential with that initial team, and then finally run a SWOT analysis, strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats on the plan so far. So what that looked like is it started with this initial prompt, right? So this initial prompt here was just, I'm a startup entrepreneur and you are my startup consultant. I want to start a company that offers, kind of the broad what these services were, and broad, to another service that we want to include in there. Services, I want you to help me build this company. I want a plan to create a company that generates 10,000 per month in the first 90 days of doing business, which is something that is very easy for you to do. First, I want you to help me with market research. Who would benefit most from these services and why? So that is the initial prompt. And then I'm going to share 15 of the key prompts that we used going back and forth, right? As I was collaborating with the AI, these are kind of the top 15 prompts that had what I felt was the biggest impact on the plan. Now, that's not all the prompts, right? If we look back here, there's a lot more prompts that were in here that I didn't list on this chart, right? But what is on here are the 15 that had the biggest impact, right? And so what do I mean by the biggest impact and what was removed? Well, basically, like, what I removed was things that were like, you know, like, give me more detail on that, or expound on that, or, make me another list of, who else could be included in the market. That's kind of what has been excluded here. And what was important was to do all of this in one prompt or one chat, right? And so, it started with this prompt. Then, it provided the services. I asked it this question again, okay, because it provided me the market. And then once it provided me the market, like I wanted it to reference the information that it provided me and then ask it that question again, right? And then once it answered that question, I wanted it to say, can you compile a list of potential target markets and how they would benefit from the service? And I did this like a lot of times what I've found so far with these AI prompts in GPT is like it needs to reference itself. And so a lot of times I find myself asking it the same question that it's already answered, but now it has its thoughts or its information on my prompts. And so I'll ask it similar questions to like re-reference what's now in the chat that it has access to, because it tends to operate in line with what it's already talked about. The other thing is, like I said, there were some prompts in between these. These were the 15 most impactful prompts. And so at certain times I would ask it a question like, let's see, where's an example here? So can you compile a list of target markets and how they benefit from the services? I might ask it something like, can you think of any other ways they would benefit, right? Or I might ask it something like, you put this target market in here and said it would benefit this way, like expound on that. So giving me reasons for its prompts in a certain area. And with AI, it seems to learn very similar to the way that people learn, right? So it's like, here's a lot of what your prompts are is like, as people, our psychology is such, like with this initial prompt, our psychology is such that we operate in a way consistent with what we believe about ourselves, right? So if somebody says, like, hey, you're really good at, you're really good at making cakes, right? Like you begin to adopt this idea that like you're the type of person who's good at making cakes, right? It becomes part of your identity. That's kind of my thought or my concept on why we give AI the prompts that we do. This initial prompt especially is like, you're an expert at this. You're my consultant. This is easy for you to do, right? It tells it who it is and why you're asking it what you're asking it and how it should be operating. So that's that initial prompt. But then these other prompts, what was weird about this experience was that it was like the way I approached it was like, okay, I'm a startup entrepreneur and you are my startup consultant. But I found myself like going in between me being the consultant and using my past experience to ask it questions. So like I was like leading it by my questions, right? But then there were other times I found myself acting more like the client or the entrepreneur who's like, well, why am I doing it this way? And what I really found is that working with the AI really on this project, it was it was very interesting because what I'm going to say is like the final product of what this company has become. Um, the things that have remained consistent from the AI, I would say, are um, the product names, product and service names. Um, but I would say it probably took going back and forth with the product and service names. I'd maybe say like 15 different prompts to get it right. And so I would like first ask for what are the product and service names that we could use for these services that you've already helped us to identify. And then I would say, like, okay, these are the ones of those names that I like, and these are the ones that I don't like. And I might give it reasons why I like the ones I like and why I don't like the ones that I don't like. And then it would create a list that were similar. And then I would try to give it more information like, oh, I forgot to include that this is an aspect of the service. Does that change the name? And we would go back and forth until it came up with names for the services, right? And I want to say there was probably 10 to 15 different prompts for each service that we were offering, because I wanted it to have a name that really was congruent with the company, but was really consistent with each other, right? So you could see like what services went with each other and what products went with each other. So that was really fascinating to experience. So I want to say that the names that we chose from the AI stuck, but like the company name, I can honestly say that we would not have landed on the company name without the AI. However, the company name did not come from the AI. The AI gave us several ideas that were very close, and then I want to say like I was getting ready for bed or like getting the shower or something when maybe I was out for a walk, those types of activities, when the name hit me, but it was based on reflecting on what the AI had produced, right? So that was really interesting. And a lot of things came together this way. Like, for example, the copy for the website, right? The copy for the website did not uh, come from the AI. However, the copy that the AI produced was the foundation for everything that we wrote from that. And so what I think is really the most beneficial about how what the AI does is it basically gives you a kind of like a sparring partner, right? Where you just have somebody that you're working with and you have access to ask it whatever you want, whenever you want, and you're leveraging its knowledge and yours, and you're coming to conclusions faster. And that to me was the big value of this, is I was able to, like, normally if I was to start a company, I think it would be a 3 to 6 month process just of like thinking of like, this is how I would do this is how the service would be, and just kind of going through my own head and then bouncing ideas like off of a partner or off an employee as I'm formulating this. That's the process that this accelerated and amplified for me, where I was able to do all of that would normally take me 3 to 6 months. I was able to do it over the weekend. And so the company was ready to go live much faster as a result of this process, right? And so most of these prompts that we see here, like the market research, right? Give me a list of the potential target markets and how they would benefit. Come up with products and service offerings for the company. Again, this is one where uh, I fed it some information on, hey, you've recommended these products and services. I don't want to offer these. But again, that process of going back and forth with the AI accelerated that process of what would be included in the products and services, because it came up with some things that I wouldn't have come up with without collaborating. So, helping me come up with those services. Now, again, the final products and services did not come directly from the AI, but the foundation of those products and services did. So you see, we have prompts here like come up with products and services, come up with company names. We've already talked about that. Provide lead magnet ideas to generate leads for the services. That's another one where I would go back and forth and, hey, expound on this. What did you have in mind for this? Give me details on this. Write up a version of this lead magnet to show me what you think. Add this to it, take this away from it. That's kind of how that process would go. This one is a super valuable prompt. What are the problems that the target market would have, basically, that this service would solve, right? That provided a lot of information, because now I'm getting another viewpoint of what problems our services are going to solve that I can talk about in our marketing, right? And then what pages should be on my website for these products and services. Write me a list of questions that people may ask for these services that produce the FAQs. Again, those, not all of the FAQs that it produced we used, many of them did. Not all of the answers that it produced from this were used, but the foundation of it was. And that's what was really interesting about me to this was like, it was almost like everything that it produced served as a foundation or a writing prompt for what it actually became. And it just accelerated that process so much. What are some of the best types of funnels to sell these products and services? I was really impressed with the results of this, of the types of funnels that it recommended. Um, for this, like, I think there was only one funnel that it recommended that I did not agree with, but the other ones were right in line, right in line with, like, as a marketer having years of experience, what I would have recommended to a client who is building this. So that was one area I was particularly impressed. Um, there's a spelling error here. Sorry about that. This was probably one of the more helpful prompts that I used several times in the process. Um, so I'm trying to take note of where we are in this process together today. Please tell me where we are at and what we have done together so far. Then provide me with a list of what still needs to be done to build this company. So when we look back at this chat, like you can see over here just in scrolling, that there's a lot of information in here, right? And so after a couple hours of doing this, I started to get lost. This helped me to see, here's what I already have, and here's what I need to do next. That's probably one of the more valuable prompts. I used this several times over the weekend that I was doing this. This was another extremely valuable prompt, right? So we're not going to talk about the strategy here, but one of the things, if you've watched some of my other videos, you'll know that I like to connect and collaborate with people who can become referral sources. And since this was a new venture, I wanted to find out who some people could be that could be referral sources that maybe I wasn't thinking about. And so I said, could you please give me a list of types of businesses that have the same customer or target market, but don't have competing services, so that I can connect with them to build relationships and get referrals from them. That was a very, very valuable list, because that started to influence who I wanted to connect with on social media with, like if you've watched some of my other videos about like Twitter lead generation, right? That started to influence that list that I create to start finding leads on Twitter. So if you haven't watched that video, go back and watch that video. You'll know what I mean, but you'll be able to see how this prompt helped. Then, of course, just kind of some projections. What could the startups cost be? Can you provide me with a SWOT analysis of what we've done so far? And who are the people that should be on the team? What type of activities would they have, KPIs and things like that? So I would say that these were the 15 most valuable prompts that were used in addition to this initial prompt. This is what what this was able to accomplish. And, so far, like I said, a lot of this came from just experience of having done this in the past. But what was so fascinating about this was it did not produce what I expected. It did not create the entire company by itself. Most of what it produced, I did not use. But most of what it produced provided me with the information that I needed in order to build a company that was profitable, right? That's going to be profitable. And it was able to get me to those connections that I needed to make in order to start building the company a lot faster. So that's what this did. This is how we used it. I'm sure that I'll run other tests like this in the future. But I thought this was a really fun test, really fun experiment. And it was interesting to see what the results were. And I'm sure in the future I'll do more like this and see what else. I think I could have done things like, I think I could have built the landing pages. I'm sure. I think I could have used it to do a lot more than I did. Even some of the technical aspects of the company. But I wanted to see how it worked from a foundational standpoint. And I think so far, I would say that my team and I are all really happy with the company that's going to be produced as a result of this. And in the future, I'll tell you more about that company and the types of things that we're doing there. But hopefully this has given you some good ideas and could be one of the early stages of like, how do we use AI to build a new company? Well, that's what I've found so far. So hopefully you enjoyed this video.